for a little bit. We'll try to figure out how to get this a little bit more steady. Huh. In the camera, there's that one streak that really stands out. But yeah, so I figured you guys can hang out with me as I roll some paint. But this is kind of what I'm working on. Not too bad. I mean, keeps you busy. You know, I talked a little bit about doing engineering work on the side and doing landscaping, and this is just part of what I do. Not sure if I'm in focus or out of focus. Got my mobile office over here. But yeah, I figured we'll hang out a little bit. I have to hop off at 12:45. It's only 10 o'clock right now. I doubt I'm going to go that long. My gosh, that'd be a 2-hour live stream. Who do you guys think I am? I'm an educated accomplice. I don't have that much good stuff to say. I'm going to have to move this tarp here in a second. I should actually just do it now. I think occasionally I'll step over to the front and see what the comments say, if there is any. But I can see right now that there's no comments, so just keep working. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'll show you guys something here once I get to this wall here. Now, because I'm just priming right now, like this honestly isn't paint. If this is paint, I wouldn't let it look like, especially a finished job, I wouldn't let a lot of this stay the way that it looks right now. This is a primer, it's going to just be coated, so primer's like extra thick, so it's hard not to streak it. I didn't know, I'm painting great stuff for this. I want the cheaper stuff because honestly, after I'm done with primer, I don't want to run paint through the same rollers, so I'm going to be chucking them out anyway. So me, it doesn't really matter. It is a little bit streaky because it's all going to be covered. I'm probably actually going to bring my paint gun out. It's going to do a really nice job with the paint. I bought paint for spraying, so that'll really make it this a nice, really super nice job. And then I'll probably just give it a quick roll. And just give it that little bit of a texture look, you know? If you know, you know. If you don't, you know. Yeah, the problem with a lot of these older Pittsburgh houses is the fact that none of the walls are even by any means. So it's like you have to paint them like almost 3 or 4 times in order to get a nice coverage because they're all wavy and it's not because it's just like, I know some of y'all are going to be like, oh, the house is foundation's crumbling or the roof is caving in, or I understand why you would say that according to what the normal, what the home inspectors and what the local industry says. But when you're working with older houses, some of them from like well beyond, like some of them into the mid 1800s and stuff, it's just they didn't use as good products. Like they used shiplap and then they put stucco on top, and it's not a perfect setup to begin with. So you can only work with what you have. Yeah, so one of the things I want to do today is get the rest of this room painted. Not too much left. I want to get this room painted, and I want to get the downstairs room, actually primer and ready to go. The owner of this place is looking, I think he had a roof person come in, and so, because there's a bunch of drought to show you what I'm talking about. Easier that way instead of trying to explain it. Come on, time to go on a little trip, vacation land, school trip. They show the camera a little like a chubby girl. So anyway, you got, well that's a patch, that's something different. I don't even know why I came over here, but that's a patch I need to do. This place is getting rewired, but, so I'll have to patch that. But what I really want to show you is like, you see these little tiny cracks? The camera's focusing on my hand, not with it. There's little tiny cracks. That's either because of the stucco or the shiplap, but I'll show you what kind of concerns me and why I pointed out to him to get the roof checked out is this right here. See this? This is up very high in the roof. And see this? Right there? Yeah, you see that? Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking there might be a roof issue. And it could be an old one. It could be an old one that's gone away, it's been dealt with. But that's one of the things I pointed out to him. I don't do roofs, in case you're all wondering. I do a lot of other kind of projects. Just go ahead. Well, that might be another project we can work on. Is shimming this door. I don't know if it needs shim or if it needs plank. I tell you what, for those of you who are watching, and maybe you are organic, here's something I'd like to know. I'm thinking about buying a planer. Is there a brand of planer that you guys prefer over another? And obviously, when you're hanging, you don't want to step on your pole because you're too busy looking at the camera. I'm kind of leaning towards the D-wall. I used it once with another guy I worked for a project. And it was bad. I mean, it's just kind of what I would use it for, you know? Like, I would either do that, a hand planer like that. But I'll tell you something else I don't like, is like the tabletop one, you know? Because there's three times, where it's like I'm trying to play like 2x6s or something. Where it's like I'm trying to make a cut edge, a cutting edge for my saws and stuff, so I have a board. So what I'm doing here is I start in the middle and I work my way up. That's probably works way up. But like, see right there how the roller skipped off? Yeah, so right there where the roller skipped off, it's because the walls are just so uneven. Like you can actually feel it like twisting in your hands. And it's almost very hard to not streak the walls a little bit. But like I said, I'm just primering right now, so I'm not really too worried. And like I said, for final coats, you see, right here's the low spot. See how I kept missing that after I ran over 3 times? You go over here, finally get it. But that's just some of the things you have to deal with, contend with as you're trying to roll this. But again, that's why I'm opting into spraying this instead of rolling this whole piece up. Look at that, you paint pretty little trees on the wall, and then I want to clean up this pass a little bit. Even though the sponge is dry, you just want to clean up a little bit, and you reload it. The next thing I do is instead of like starting right here at the end, you go over a little bit, so you can kind of feather it in a little bit, you know? But again, you can see like where this roller just skipped all over the place. The walls are just incredibly uneven.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is, working on these older houses. There's not really a whole lot you can do. Just remember, when you're painting, you don't want to be in a hurry. You want to have a good quality paint job over, like I say, you want a good quality paint job instead of trying to run, you know, a NASCAR pit stop. I can pull out a different paint gun system and I can get this whole thing done in like an hour or so. It's gonna look like complete, you know, it's gonna look like garbage when it's all said and done. You just go over and you want to feather it out a little bit. You want to make sure everything looks nice. What's funny is I'm noticing on the camera more, because of these nice stripes, better than with the naked eye. So that's an interesting tool to have there.
Really thought about using it again, just slightly off to the left, run it up, back down, so you can clean it up a little bit, all the way down, all the way up, now scooch about halfway over, just same thing, a little bit up and down, a little bit up and down, I'll go over. And what you're probably realizing is the fact that I'm not doing like those paint companies, like Lowe's and all that stuff, trying to advertise. You're like, hey, let's take a paint brush and get all.
You don't want to be making giant B's and W's, but it's more work that you have to try and feather in and try to work through. So you just want to, you want it to look nice when you're done. You want it to be something you would be proud of. It's all said and done. Like, I mean, would you be proud of seeing giant side runs of diamonds all over your walls? And big old boogers from your paint gun you're trying to get done in 10 seconds? No, probably not. So take your time with this. This, you want to take your time and be nice and calm. You've all the time in the world to get it done right. But you don't have all the time in the world because you're working for a customer. But you have all the time in the world that the customer will give you. Just take your time, do what you need to do, and just take it one step at a time. Just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. And honestly, if I get these 2 racks done today, I'll basically almost be ready to film. I shouldn't say that basically. I will be ready to paint. I want to give them a quick sand, And for that, I just use things like a 9-inch disc sander, and well, I'm saying a lot, but I use a 9-inch disc sander. I go across it real quick, just to get the little feather, just the little streakies and all the little butter and glints and stuff out of it. And I just keep going. A lot of the spiders, when I come across it, it always goes to undone. So, right there, just try to take your time, get that right, just keep moving forward.
I'm trying off camera a little bit, so I'll set over here.
Now this is a little bit of a tight area, so I want to go ahead and drop this on. That's the one thing I kind of run into quite a bit here is just when you're trying to get something done here, the door right behind you. Honestly, they're using even enough for me to bring you guys over here. finish that little section, I'll throw the roller back on. Strokes. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot easier to write it when I actually paint because I'm not trying to finish or do this with a broad attach. I can actually just do this with on the unit with the paint gun. With the paint gun, it's gonna be a lot easier. It's just 1, 2, 3. Because this is probably going to be like the most boring video I've made for YouTube, to be honest with you guys. It's not going to hurt my feelings to be kind of clean. Yeah, the wobble walls. We can wobble, we can wobble. You know how it goes. It's nice and slow. Let's take everything nice and slow. Right here is because of the shortness of the wall. I'm doing a little bit of overlap. I'm just going to keep going over some sections. Yeah, this is a cheap roller. I'm not obviously a huge fan of it. It's a cheap roller. But you can't put a little brush. When I do it with paint, okay, so the final coat will be, it's going to be sprayed, but it's going to be rolled at the same time, and I'll try to give it a little bit of depth. And for that, I'm going to be using a microfiber roller. It holds paint a lot better. It's a little more forgiving, especially with these walls all covered and stuff. You're not going to have so much streaking from the cheapness of the cage and the mold. That's the other thing too. That I'm not going to use this cage. So we'll go ahead and reload this one last time and we'll be done with this room. And honestly, because I need to relocate everything to a different room after I've done this a little bit, probably going to be the last of this live stream. Maybe we'll do another one later. Or maybe not. But after this, I got one more room to I can cut that room, you know, so that's something I can go over with you guys a little bit. How to do that work and stuff. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And hopefully you guys all have a good day. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Jack's Business Talk.